The void stares back. The credits are rolling, the mics are recording. Gaze into the void with your hosts, Josh and Joey, as they discuss thoughts and questions surrounding visual, written, and interactive media steeped in cosmic horror.
Welcome, folks, to another episode of The Void Stares Back.
Oh yeah, forgot about intros.
Yeah. I'm Josh Richter.
I am Joey.
We're here to talk about some cosmic horror and other such
Oh yeah, is that a spoiler?
weirdness. No, I mean, that's the general theme of the show, right?
The show, yeah. For sure.
For this episode, Joey just got to witness the very first episode of season 1 of True Detective.
Yeah.
So, Joey, credits are rolling. What did you think?
Well, first of all, it's shot incredibly.
Yeah.
There's lots of cool decisions made for like what shots and why, who's in the shots and like why the shots exist. Because there's plenty of times they can gloss over a lot of stuff and they just get like a lot of badass scenes.
Right. No, everything in this is very thoughtful.
Yeah, and like every time that you think it's gonna get to like the kind of show, the kind of Law and Order show that you might imagine, they don't. They've got that secondary present day plot running that they cut to. So you're not just listening to him like list shit you already kind of know. Yeah. And it's like purposefully there to like obscure details until the show's ready to show or talk about them. So like the Louisiana thing, right? Like takes place in Louisiana. Yeah. And the only thing that you get to know of that is the drawing of the state on their jackets until they get to the station where it says Louisiana. So if you didn't just know that, which much of the world doesn't, I'm sure. Even probably a lot of Americans just don't. Little details like that where they talk about something and then later they say like, this is what we've been talking about. Yeah. Or they like deliberately had a lot of shots of the two interrogators of McConaughey and other guy.
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah, Woody Harrelson. But then the moment they showed them for the first time, they start showing them like their new their characters now. Yeah. Yep. That's great. Unrelated to my opinion of the show, McConaughey looks like a badass version. Not that he isn't badass, but he looks like Bill Nye in this show. Yes. Yeah. So they did a lot of cool makeup work to place the two times. Yes. 17 years apart. Yeah. That's really cool. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm really into it so far. I like it.
Cool. All right.
This one's like a pretty solid first episode. Get you hooked.
Yeah, very much so.
They don't give you a damn thing.
No. Nope.
They spend the whole first episode working on the relationship between them. And that's all it was really about. And then behind it is like the stuff you really care about, and they're just teasing you with, and like, no, we're gonna develop this relationship. Yeah, which I really appreciate that reversal from, like you said, the most TV shows that are about this kind of subject matter. You know, they stick to the case. Yeah, and it's all about the case. Yep. And this is like, here's the case, which is just the foundation for this other stuff that we're gonna give you instead. Yeah. And it's intriguing in the right ways. Yeah. It's I don't know. I don't know if there's a whole lot to talk about, like what's going on, like on the mystical side of things. Right. Well, yeah, and I don't expect each of these episodes to be as long as our usual ones, given that we're going to talk about it after every single one. It's more just doing some more rapid fire stuff. Yeah, just we'll piece it all together at the end. And yeah, I think there's a lot of cool imagery going on, and I like both of the characters a lot. They're very interesting. Like it only gets better from here. So Harrelson's character is like the less cool. Like he's not as cool as their trying to make this like rogue, like rebel character out of McConaughey, who's like completely, and they don't even pretend that he's not. Like, he has dialogue about how that's what he believes in and that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah.
So like the kinds of people who are like borderline, who are like, yeah, I wish I felt that way, or they're going to be like, this guy's my guy. I'm like,
right. Yeah.
I'm really attached to him, and that relatable to those sorts of people. But like, yeah, he's you basically every relationship they have just gives you the nice lob, the setup for like all of this just crumbling, and like, you know, like there's they don't even pretend that that's going to be a special moment later. Like they're like, yeah, it happened. Like,
all
the evidence for how it's going to fall apart later.
Yep. Yeah. And I like that they even, the first time they give it to you in this first episode is like, I worked with him for 7 years. And it's like, oh, so it ended. You know, like, they're not being interviewed separatty, like in the same room or something.
Yeah, Harrelson's still in the same office. It looks like he's in the same.
Yeah, it looks like he's back at his police precinct. Yeah, but he does. I mean, I don't know if you picked up that he mentioned that he has a PI business.
I didn't. No.
Okay. Yeah, he very briefly mentions that. They're like, you know, how are you doing? You know. It's like, well, it's that bit where he talks about keeping busy after the force. So
yeah, I didn't know that's what he was implying.
Sure, yeah. But I mean, that's not. It was there, so it's not really a spoiler.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I could see why the dialogue existed.
Yeah,
I like a lot of the like clearly incredible actors, but their posturing and like the characters they built for them, like.
Yeah, you can tell
from the acting side of things, like dialogue. Yeah. Regardless, is just cool.
Yeah. Yep. All their mannerisms and stuff, especially McConaughey's like, he's got all those little details down.
Yeah, I like how he slapped him.
Yeah.
Instead of like. Yeah. What you'd imagine, I thought he was about to like fight him.
Yeah.
Or punch him, but he's just like. I was like, that's a like extra demeaning to do to somebody.
Exactly.
Like,
well, and especially in their kind of like line of work where like these are like men's men, like cops,
man environment,
you know?
and
yeah. So,
I'm into the lay work for McConaughey's character's distaste for organized religion. To like just blow up, you know, and not in like I'm ready for a rant as much as like I'm excited for the implication that has on an entirely Christian community.
Right.
Suddenly faced with a new detective and a cult related case.
Yeah.
And you know, being accusatory and of Satanism, which they clearly don't understand, and like you know, and they just assume this cult activity is the devil at work, and then this guy who's like borderline preachy atheist, like it's very interesting. Yeah,
let's talk about, or I'm curious to hear your thoughts on his little spiel in the car when he starts talking about what he believes.
Oh yeah,
you know, I think that's probably the biggest meat of this episode that we can put on here.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's very grounded in any one thing. Like it's not a philosophy that's shared by anyone.
No,
you know, throughout history necessarily, or
and certainly not in this universe.
Oh, not you know, or the setting.
Not remotely. Yeah,
so like, it's clearly like a cherry-picked idealism that, you know, based on the past that you know, his past that we learn about, like surely makes enough sense that it's like it's it's interesting too, because what I was about to describe is something that you watch characters go through. Yeah. And we start off and the character has already gone through it. Which is to say, like, lives life with a belief system of some kind, moral or otherwise. Yeah. And then has something traumatic happen that makes you doubt it.
Yeah, or ultimately shatters it.
Or shatters it, yeah. You know? And then you watch them work through that, or something like that, and then this character, that's past. We don't see any of that. Yeah, that's already happened to him. Yeah. And he's post that.
Right.
And
he even mentions how when they're having the conversation, Marty's like, you got to stop saying you smell of psychosphere. And he's like, for as long as it took me to reconcile my nature, I'm not going to forgo it for you now. So you can tell, he's been working through this for a long time already. Right. And he's fairly young at that point, so it had to have happened early in his life.
But from my personal perspective and knowledge and whatever, it's interesting to watch someone who is playing the role of a really intelligent detective who's looking for patterns and stuff, and because that's ultimately what he's very good at. He's very detail oriented and he looks for patterns, and that's why he walked out to the tree after they met the guy who looks like he has cerebral palsy.
I was gonna say, I think it's cerebral palsy of some in pretty severe form at that point.
Yeah, or
something.
It's I think lupus also manifests that way at the end of their lives, and there's another one that I'm forgetting, but the character, the Olivia Wilde's character from the show House has it.
Oh, that's right.
It's an acronym of some kind.
Yeah, I cannot remember it.
There's lots of episodes in that show about her
dealing with
that and trying to treat other people, or give her time to there's a whole episode about her giving her she quits and then goes to work for this research place to
for directly influencing the work on that.
An A. It's not important.
Yeah.
Either way, after that,
tell us in the comments.
Let us know how stupid we are. After that scene, there's a long out of focus, pulled into focus shot through the blinds.
Yeah, through the window of the yard. Yeah,
of the yard, and it glosses over it, but the yard is very set up in an orientation. Because, he talked about intuition for a moment, and he's like, just call it intuition, why we went to go see this girl, because it's not it's not related to the victim.
Yeah.
Or not obviously related. And that shot, before he walks out the door and just leaves while...
yeah.
He's still talking about the questions that they had.
Yeah.
That tree scene was a lot like the scene she was left in.
Right.
There were things hanging strategically.
Yep, throughout.
And so it just and all of those were obviously benign, swings and various other.
But it mimics
things.
that. Yeah.
But it was very much like that scene and all the there's so many shots at the beginning of that first ritualistic.
Yeah, they really want to drill it into your head because it's important. Obviously very important for the rest of the show.
Especially with the end of the last scene.
Yep.
And how it carries forward like that. But it was cool that he's all internal. He's all cerebral. He's not hey, Woody Harrelson, come check this out. This looks fun. He just wanders off.
Yep.
Without saying any words.
Yeah, it's all in his head. Yeah.
And then something draws him to the creepy door, which was whatever. Yeah. But yeah, that was a cool little moment where he's clearly that guy who's really heady, but to kind of pedal back a little bit about his philosophy. It's cool. It's weird. It's interesting that the character depth that he has comes from that place of past trauma, and what that does to someone who was previously and now and still a very intelligent person, because his belief systems are unintelligently warped.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of it is illogical that he would believe in something like that. Because when you say oh, I'm a realist or I'm a pessimist.
Yeah.
At some point in your life, when you think long enough about that, you realize that some amount of that, because he clearly believes in it to the most extreme.
Yeah.
Is bullshit, right? That's not really an intelligent, line of reasoning to go through life, because life isn't just cold facts.
Right.
There's different dimensions to what makes, the things that you think and feel matter. And it's clearly not intelligent because he recognizes that with some of his reasonings, because he talks about it being self-destructive and how he's not good at fighting that.
Right.
on occasion, and he works on trying to fight it better.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure a lot of his sadness and tribulations after the trauma are due to the fact that he just realizes he can't do what he wishes and end it all, right? Like,
right.
When you live in a place of depression like that, logic no longer matters in that realm during lapses.
Yeah.
Which is why he talks about being like shameful and sorry that he got drunk before showing up to the dinner and that sort of a thing. Like, he's very clearly like he has a moral compass despite what he says.
Yes. Yeah.
And he proves that with his actions, and most of which, and he makes a bullshit claim about why he does police work, but in the fact that he is doing police work, like at some level, which is shown in his present self.
Yeah.
That stops mattering. He, Thursday's my day off. I get drunk on Thursdays at noon.
Yeah, right.
That whole full evolution of that persona is like clear that he's not truly sticking to his guns on 50% of the things he's clearly wavering on, and has just like in a moment of lowness just decided is how he's going to live his life.
Yeah.
Because it's just cool to watch a character ignore that stuff, because that's super psychotic, depressive behavior. That it's just like this one thing that doesn't make sense, forget about it, push it to the back, let it boil over. I got to focus on the cold hard facts of a case because that's what I'm good at.
Right.
And it just helps justify the shitty person that I know I am just because I'm a person. So like his philosophy, coming back to Christianity and why he has the cross and stuff, is because that just comes back to like a martyrdom, a personal like internal like struggle where he's like, I will sacrifice myself to continue to do the work I know I'm good at.
Right.
For the good of people, it's like a weird compromise to the things that he just said.
I was gonna say, for the good of people that I believe we shouldn't
work
exist
together to die.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And that whole spiel he gave.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really insanely like what I would love to strive for as a writer someday. Depth of character, like very well thought out. And like you can't just be like, oh, he's a rogue guy. He's going off. He's gonna get his badge and his gun taken away later. Like he does what he wants. And I'm like, this character does that within a number of like nested rule sets that he like struggles with on a daily basis.
Yeah. One taking over another at any given point.
Yeah,
depending on the context of the situation. So.
Yeah, and how long it has gone on. Like the meeting that he has at the very end with the minister.
Yeah.
Trying to organize an anti-Christian police
task force
or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, not an anti-Christian, but a pro-Christian task force.
Right.
Against anti-Christian crimes.
Yeah.
Stuff. Like if that conversation had gone on longer, he was already in the mood to slap people. He was like,
right.
So like, it's nice to watch him like struggle with the bounds of like, got to keep my job. I can't just start hitting people that are like buddy with the, the boss.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I need to keep this job that I'm good at because that's the one thing I can focus on because the rest of the world's shit.
Yeah, it's driving me into madness.
Yeah.
And then Harrelson's character is like really, really elegantly chosen as someone who's just like, he also just does his job because he's good at it, but under different pretense, right? Like it's like, he's more righteous about why he does it, I'm sure. He does it because he's good at it, but because there's something behind him that, causes him to believe it's good for.
Yeah, it is the greater good, right?
Yeah.
To some degree in his life.
Yeah.
And
so it's
he believes in that cause more than McConaughey just knows that he's good at it.
Yeah. And like you see it with Criminal Minds, right? Like I don't know if you've ever watched that show.
A couple episodes. It's something actually I wanted to watch, but never given the time.
It's cool. It gets a little samey for a lot of stuff, but there's some definitely standout, interesting episodes and stuff. And if you're willing to watch like 100 seasons of it or however much is out,
it's gone on for a long time.
There's some cool story, like character development arcs.
Cool.
How fast they do it, I can't speak to because I've never like watched the show front to back. But, But one of the things that they go through is and without, they don't usually say it, right? As so a matter of fact is, they spend a lot of time psychoanalyzing people and saying, like, this is why a psychopath killer does what they do. And
Sure.
this is, and we did, when we gathered all this information so that we know, like, how to expect pattern and repeatability, and basically track them down through their actions and their mannerisms, on just from a crime scene, a conversation, whatever. And obviously that show blows it out of the real,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not without possibility.
Right. Oh,
But the reason I bring it up is because a lot of the people who are good at that job are borderline killers.
right.
You know, like the kind of personalities that decided that maybe killing isn't what, they didn't get the trigger. They're just sociopaths
Yeah.
who are cold.
Yeah. They're standing on the edge.
Yeah, and some of them aren't. Some of them don't cope that way, but like
Right.
they still have tendencies that like would suggest certain similarities between the people that they hunt and the kind of person it takes to hunt them, right? Like fight fire with fire, well, how do you catch
Yeah.
that kind of a criminal? Well, you got to get into their head, and what does
Right.
that do to
Think
a
like
person?
them.
And like,
Yep.
and in most cases, they don't have to do that. They just are that way, so they're prone to be good at
Right.
that sort of analysis. So
Yep.
that's something I predict out of the show, where McConaughey's character has like a lot of those creepy tendencies, which is why
Sure.
there's a lot of accusatory eyes on him already, because
Yeah.
especially from the present day interrogation scenes, about like, we thought you'd be able to let us know about how this person got up, on all those strings, because
Yeah.
and the way he answers that question isn't with surprise.
Right.
It isn't like, it's clearly like, maybe not clearly, but it, from like a sociopathic, cold, dead person, like he is, and has shown he is,
Yeah.
for the whole show so far. He looks at it, with a look of glazed curiosity. He's just really interested in it.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
like, but that does not come across that way to the layman.
Right.
I see that and like recognize why that would be the case based on what I know about him. But like these two detectives are like, man, this guy's
He's a little.
he's suspect numero uno
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, exactly,
He's
yeah.
clearly the one who killed everybody. And that's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's a really cool show so far.
Cool. I'm all right. Well, I'm glad you're ready to be strapped in for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Here for the long haul. Especially if it keeps up with this. I'm curious to know why the second season is apparently not, didn't hit on as many cylinders as this one does.
All right.
And like you said, they're separate.
Yeah, they have completely different actors, different
Yeah.
setting, everything. Like they're not
It's just the
remotely
same-
connected. Yeah.
Like format, right? Like the
Yeah.
overarching thing that's
Yeah.
it's the show's about fits into this other sub story.
Yes. Yeah.
And
As far as I
I'm very
understand it, yeah.
pleased about that formula because I like endings.
Sure.
Which I don't know why the greater public doesn't. Because they continue to just watch shit that never ends, and has no
Right.
sign of
Yeah.
ending. And then when it does, due to other ancillary effects, it's like a rushed ending because they got canceled or
Sure.
whatever
Yeah.
it is. And it's like, I don't like the idea that they started writing a show without an end
In mind. Yeah.
of a finite. Well, usually they have like, we'll probably end this way, and then we'll get to the details. It's like,
Yeah.
I want you-
11 seasons later.
Yeah. And I get that, it pays the bills and it's a job, and like that's a really ideal position to be in for a writer and a crew.
Yeah. And some people, I mean, like a large portion of those people for certain shows, I'm sure just enjoyed doing it and they just want to keep making it.
Yeah, like they're letting,
Yeah.
they're finally given free reign to exist in the world that they wrote. Right?
Yeah.
Like it makes sense that they'd want to do it. But as a consumer, I absolutely prefer things that just end.
Yep. No, I'm very much with you.
Because
one of them,
you can be more meticulous, basically, like with what you put inside it, instead of being vague and like wishy-washy about what that means for the future of your...
Right. Or just cram everything. Anything and everything.
Yeah.
Because you know you've got the time to do it.
And then all of a sudden you don't. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, you're like, oh, well, now we have to wrap up all these unanswered questions or all this stuff.
Because plenty of shows. I was telling you about one that I love. I got into knowing that they were over. Got into them after the fact, like Firefly. I wasn't watching that when it was airing.
Yeah, I still haven't seen... people still yell at me because I haven't seen that show.
But it's also a thing where it's like, oh, we've been canceled. Shoot,
Yeah.
and it's one season, and it's great. They do a great job.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of examples where they're like, oh, we've been canceled. And they don't tie up all the loose ends. They don't answer all the questions because they just really can't. And at least not satisfyingly. So... It's definitely a bummer, but there was a detective show I was telling you about where a guy suffers from insomnia.
Yeah.
And whenever he goes to sleep, he wakes up again. Mm-hmm. But when he's in the real world, I put that in quotes for the audio listeners, which is all of you.
Unless you guys are standing outside my window watching this right now.
True detective.
They're in TV.
When he's awake in the real world, in his past, his son was killed. And when he goes to sleep, he wakes up in a world where his wife was killed and his son is alive.
Yes, I remember you telling me about this. Yeah.
But he never... It's called Awake. The show's called Awake. I don't know if it's still on Netflix, but it just has one season and they rushed the ending. But the premise is something that I'm like...
super into.
God, I wish they got a chance to finish it in the time that they might maybe want to have. But yeah, like, just some of the scenes in there just like spark like what you could do with it in the future, and they just never get a chance to. Like, one of the trailer scenes that got me even aware of it was he's talking to a therapist, and he's talking about this phenomenon. When he goes to sleep, he wakes up, and in this world, and I just don't know how to, he doesn't know how to cope with it, and he's solving the same case in both, so he has like this crazy edge because he's seeing the details twice, and he's like a crazy good detective as a result of just experiencing everything twice. But he's with his therapist, and he's like, when I go to sleep, I wake up and this is all the case, and then the therapist is like, all right guy, I forget the name of the character. What I need you to know is that this is the real world.
Right.
And then he's like, there's like a nice dramatic pause, and he's like, that's what my other therapist says. And it's like, oh,
yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of cool shows like that just, they just never get a chance.
They really don't get to see the light of day.
They're not written like that. Mm-hmm. Serial television is like the bane of great storytelling unless you just nail it the first time and continue to get your funding.
Right.
And even when you do, sometimes you run really long, like Lost or The Walking Dead, and like you lose the glimmer of what brought people to see you because you just keep going and going.
Yeah. After this being my favorite, I don't even know if I ever said that. This is my favorite show of all
television
time.
Show?
Yes. Bar none.
Are you talking like of this sort of ilk? Because like Cowboy Bebop and those sorts of things are also shows,
sure, okay.
right? Like,
taking animated shows out of it.
Sure. I mean, that's a big spectrum, so narrow it down.
Right. So live action TV shows, both, and I do include like miniseries in there because this is borderline between the two.
Yeah, that's kind of
it's one
new
season,
HBO
like it's
formula.
multiple seasons, but they're self-contained units of 8 episodes. So,
right.
But this being my favorite show of all time, my other ones are all shows that had a very finite ending. The longest running one being Breaking Bad at only 6 seasons.
Sure.
And then after that, I like Hannibal and Penny Dreadful, and both of those are only 3 seasons each. So,
sure.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate this lens of storytelling.
And I assume that you would, every day of the week, categorize this as, like, if you're going to talk about True Detective, you're going to talk about a season of True Detective independent from any other season.
Yeah, I would name it whichever one I'm talking about. Yeah.
So this may be first, but the first season is first.
Yes.
And obviously, you haven't seen the third, so I'm excited,
Yeah, no, I haven't.
for us to catch up to it and both be
and dive into that.
of it.
It's another one that Abby wants to watch. But I knew starting this that you were going to say something about.
It's a shame that you're just interested in that stuff already, and I showed up and hadn't watched any of it. So you're just like, gotta show it to Joey.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about
continuing this.
More.
Cool. All right.
It's got me hooked. It's got its claws in me. And its antlers. Bored holes into me. It's a good word. Bore.
Any thoughts on? I'll just ask this last question before we close out.
Eldritch things.
Specifically, any thoughts about the symbol on her back?
It is not in my lexicon of like pre-existing symbols that I'm really aware of. It looks Norwegian. Like the kind of thing that you would find like carved into a smooth stone. Yeah,
very runic. Well,
less runic actually, because runic symbols are often not circular.
Sure, but it also
due to the fact that they were carving them into stone. It had
slightly harder edges at all the turns of the spiral. Than a true circle. So
it just gave that vibe. I don't really
very
think
Scandinavian in origin.
I don't feel like it's from that necessarily, but it definitely gave off that vibe.
Okay.
Because clearly the other imagery isn't.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's very like North American.
Yeah.
Eldritch.
Yeah. The
fiction.
The not wicker,
maybe a little Native
the
American
wooden,
and like
the wooden pyramids that they made. And
what did the preacher say?
They were called devil's nests.
Oh, so sort of like
devil's nets. Devil's
like
nets.
dream catchers.
Yeah, they're basically a dream catcher.
It's like where the old like the creepy lady mythology kind of comes from, where they have like things hanging from their trees, and like she's the old like widower that lives in the neighborhood that all the kids are afraid of. It's like a very common thread throughout American history.
Like the in the movie, the Blair Witch Project, very based on that idea.
Sure,
like those hanging the little people.
As much memory of it.
She made like little stick.
Like voodoo
figures that hung from the trees and stuff, and this being Louisiana, also very reminiscent of just voodoo in general, and hoodoo and all of those Central South American.
I don't know how like accurate to the time and location that their idiosyncrasies and dialects are to like the traditional Louisianan Southern accent, sort of like the shape that it takes. But it sounds relatively consistent.
I was going to say, as the show develops, because obviously you're going to focus on this area for a bit, you'll find that a lot of it, they did their homework. So,
sure. I'm just not
familiar with
versed in culture and especially of the time.
I'm not either, but it certainly convinced me. So
it did it enough that it wasn't a problem.
But cool. All right.
But symbol wise, I don't really have any previous knowledge that sort of links it anywhere other than like mysterious rune is important, like
And I think for the average watcher of like the person who flipped on HBO is like, look at this cool show, I'll watch this, they're gonna have the same.
Sure.
I don't know. That's probably important. And
yeah, exactly. And I mean, clearly it is. Like, it's staged and framed importantly.
He draws it, know, like...
I do have a question to you, though.
Okay.
When you first watched it, did you have any prior inclination toward it?
When I saw the symbol on her back, I did get a little excited, because it felt familiar.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has that feeling. Like, but I've played a lot of video games and shit, so who knows where that totally copied from? Like,
sure.
It leads me to believe that it is real in some facets in our world as we know it,
right?
Because so many other things draw very similar iconography.
Yeah.
From it for very similar purposes. Maybe not occult, but like mysterious and ancient. Like that whole vibe. Like, it's not a new symbol that I don't mean to say I don't. We have that inkling.
Yeah.
Totally probably seen it before in my time.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the exact dimensions if it's it's built for the show, you know, if it's just sort of something that they're using.
There was something that clued me into it, and I don't think that you. I mean,
Just from
not
this
that.
episode?
Yes, and that I don't.
I mean,
I certainly don't want to assume that you didn't catch it because you're pretty detail oriented. But
I like to think so. Totally could have missed it though. I missed plenty of shit.
Yeah.
It does remind me actually of a movie, and this isn't even like based in reality.
Yeah.
Because even in the movie when it comes up, it's not what the characters who are witnessing it think it is. But have you? I assume you have. But you've seen Kung Fu Hustle?
Yes. Yeah, I own it. Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie. Incredible.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
So good. All of his movies are. But
Yeah.
the character, spoiler alert for that movie, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I'm about to spoil something.
Yeah. Pause. Go see it.
yeah,
Do
pause.
yourself the favor and come back.
It's not important for anything except that I'm going to spoil a moment. But near the end, when he dies,
Yeah.
he draws a symbol in his blood. Mm-hmm. And it's a really funny moment because they're like, oh, what are your last words?
Yeah.
And then they like he like slowly,
Yeah.
shakily with a bloody finger starts drawing
Yeah.
what you assume is kanji.
Yeah.
And what the characters in the show assume is kanji. And he draws a spiral in his blood, and and then he dies. And then the character's like, "Oh, write in Chinese, I can't understand." And like, it's really funny. But he's
Yeah.
it actually is just him drawing a lollipop. Like he's not
Yeah,
like
right, yeah.
It's not. It wasn't. But that's what it made me think of. The spiral scene. But I just
Funny.
have watched that movie a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't make that connection, but that's pretty great.
Yeah. That's like comes from a person with a small lexicon of movies in their belt that have really, because I've watched maybe more movies than you have, but like the actual dirt of all, I've seen like tons and tons of horrible movies.
Sure. Yeah.
Because my dad collects movies a little bit illegally. Or has in the past.
Yeah.
Now he has like a massive Blu-ray collection, but like it used to be the Blockbuster burned to DVD.
Yeah.
Have giant like binders of discs.
Yeah.
Way back in the day.
Sure. So you just watched anything and everything.
Every new movie that came out that just looked interesting to my dad, he rented. And then when the advent of like Redbox, or not Redbox, but old Netflix, when they shipped the movies to you.
Yeah.
He had like 2 subscriptions. He was double dipping. He was getting Blockbuster stuff, and then things would show up in the mail, and so he had like tons of movies.
Yeah.
And all these discs of all of them, and it was like a tradition to just sit down and watch movies during dinner time or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
So I've seen mountains and mountains of movies,
Right.
and I can't iterate any of them, because none of them have.
They didn't embed themselves. Yeah.
They have, but in mysterious and ubiquitous ways where like I'll see a scene of a really bad movie on late night television and be like, I've seen this before. And like everyone around me is like, this is the worst movie ever. It's going to be great. And I'm like, I've watched this seriously with my family. I won't deny that it's bad, but like, so yeah, like my lexicon of movies isn't quality. So when I do watch great movies like Kung Fu Hustle or like, The Dark Knight or whatever, or like all these things, and those are just more cemented in my brain.
Sure. Yeah.
Like Inception or even some of the ones we've watched for the show. And by some I mean one of them. Yeah. Not that those are nearer, so I have better memory of them, but like
we watched 2, but
Annihilation's like,
oh yeah,
that's going to be with me forever. Like,
yeah, that movie's fantastic.
I'll be thinking about that sort of stuff,
years down
for
the
as
road.
long as I am able, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And have like cognizant memories of it, not just weird imagery in my brain somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so with that said, I don't really have a lot movie-wise or like other content to really draw from for that symbol.
Okay.
So yeah, it is curious what detail you're talking about. I'm sure that I'll go it'll be in my brain, and then when they make deeper connections to it later,
It was
I'll be like, oh yeah,
It was one spoken word, and it
ooh,
was in a. It was a quick mention in a conversation that they had. And the only hint I'll give you, the only other hint I'll give you is it was the two of them with a third person. So
I can picture what you're talking about, but I'll have to see it before I see the deeper.
Yeah, actually, and I picked up on a detail this time that I hadn't in the previous two watches.
Having known.
Yeah, now that I know what to look for, I can pick these things out so we'll revisit them as they become stronger, and you notice some stuff too. And
yeah, that's kind of interesting that we're doing it episodic this time instead of like watching a full body of work like we do for the movies.
Right.
Obviously, we can't do movies episodically, but because when we watched Annihilation, it was the second time you watched it, or the third?
Yes, second. I saw it in theaters, and then that was the second time I watched it.
And that was quite a gap, right?
Several months. At least
the time that it was in the theaters. By the time we got it on DVD, plus watched it together for this show. Or for the cast, and then and since this is episodic, and you're going to be revisiting it for the third time or whatever, you're going to have a definitely different approach to what you have to say about it, because after we finished watching Annihilation, this guy watched it like 3 more times.
I did
within like the week, because it was just like the conversation that we had and the stuff that, we had questions that we forgot slight details about during our conversation on the cast, and like he went back and like confirmed or denied some of those ideas and stuff to me afterwards. And
there is motion blur in specific parts.
He couldn't pin it down. He's like, is it my TV? Is it the movie? And I'm like yeah, I feel like it's not your TV.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm glad I picked up on that, because that's the kind of thing that I feel like just it becomes something that you just deal with and forget is going on, like background noise. It's just something that's just like, oh yeah, I'll just accept this, and my brain won't question it. And most people just gloss over that. So I'm glad that we were able to talk about it and why it was there, and because it's clearly a choice.
Yes,
if it's there for some of the time.
Yeah.
Anyways, we got a little off topic there.
No, that's all right.
I'm excited to learn more about the cultic stuff going on, because it's not very creepy yet,
right?
It's also not very otherworldly yet, and I'm fascinated as to how that they're gonna like develop the meaning behind the killer and like everything that they're going after, and some of those details. Speaking of details, I'm really excited every time McConaughey perks up. And because he's usually the guy who just observes, he doesn't say a lot.
Yeah.
Like when they're meeting with people they're questioning.
Yeah.
He just sits and listens, and then he here's a detail that he wants to probe further.
Yeah.
And the I already forgot his name again. The other detective.
Woody Harrelson.
Yep. He doesn't even posture to say anything.
Yeah.
In those moments, they're just details that for him are just potentially meaningless.
Yeah.
But McConaughey presses some of these details.
Yeah.
When he knows no one's going to say anything. I'm really excited about the conversation they had with the inmate.
Yeah.
Because he's she was high. Everything is
messed up.
Worthless.
Yeah.
Why don't you care? And then McConaughey's what did she say?
Yeah.
And and it's about being a queen and there being a king, and I'm oh, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. But
all right. Well, that's the detail.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I just know that has that's totally a livid, or not livid, lucid conversation that this woman had over the phone with him, as opposed to a drug-induced expectation. Right. And maybe there's drugs involved, but it was deliberate. It wasn't.
Yes.
In her mind, it was important to say the things that she was saying.
Yeah.
Because she believes them as her character. But yeah, as far as the deeper meaning of of what that like actually represents.
Yeah.
I don't have much more than that.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm excited to learn more. But yeah, I think those are a lot of the major points that like, excited me about the show. And
cool. All right. Well, yeah, that was the thing I was hoping that you did. You did catch that.
I caught it.
All right.
I just don't know what relevance it has exactly just
okay.
yet. That's basically what.
Oh.
I got it. It's all up here.
I'm can't wait. So.
One last thing.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the progression of the crimes, because the final scene that they show McConaughey and of like the crown of thorns and the strung up body on the bridge.
Yeah.
Assumably it's a bridge. I don't know, but or in the trees or whatever. Whatever it is, and similar damage done to the body and like. It's very clearly identical. It's just displayed differently.
Yeah.
I'm just excited to see if there are more bodies and there are more, ritual scenes or however that will sort of progress. I don't know that there will be because it sort of sounds like from McConaughey's talk, like, he says like he will do it again. He's probably done it before about the murderer.
Right. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yep.
And, whether that happens between the time that they think they've caught him,
right?
I don't actually have any volition in saying, but
I will reveal nothing.
I'm just excited to see whatever they find, right? Like more cultic iconography, more moments that are strange, more ritualistic, deliberate. What's the word I'm looking for? Like ritualistic, deliberate areas, like shrines or all that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like another show that not a show, but a movie that we're gonna watch for the cast at some point is one that I watched kind of half of because I wasn't facing the television.
Oh,
but of
the Ritual.
The Ritual.
Yeah.
That's a Netflix exclusive, is that?
It is, yeah.
Netflix exclusive thing.
I think I can get it now on DVD or some format. Yeah, some physical. I'm going to own that movie because I very much enjoy it.
It's cool. It's very, very cool. But it's sort of, I'm excited for those moments. Like, and in that series, they stumble upon tons of secluded, ritualistic evidence of a culture, basically, of some kind of group of people, and like. You can't hide that if you're practicing it, you can only hide it so much. It's going to exist in some density somewhere,
right,
outside of a crime scene with it, that's what you build up to.
Absolutely.
As a cult, I assume. I don't know what they're doing. They like Kool-Aid, but who knows what else
they only liked it for a little bit.
No, they probably had practice like sober.
Sure, maybe
Arsenic-less Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid. Yeah.
Leading up to it. Because, like, I don't know. I wouldn't want to just go up to my flock or whatever and be like,
drink this.
This will kill you. I want to work them up to it and be like, here is the drink of our great Lord, the Kool-Aid Man, or whatever.
Yeah, right,
and then they drink it, and then they're like, again, except it's got arsenic this time, and we're ascending. Except for me. I'll stay behind because life is too precious.
Speaking of crazy Kool-Aid Man, do you have any thoughts whatsoever on green-eared spaghetti monster?
You looked at me when that scene came up and laughed because, well, it's a funny scene, but because it's tentacle boys, right? You're talking about like Cthulhu-faced monsters, and we're getting into the Eldritch, and this kid was very, like the fact that it was a child is very important for the narrative because in our greater society, children are unreliable.
Right.
Which is often not the case in real life.
Right. Usually they're speaking exactly what they saw to the best that they can describe it.
Yeah, it's like when you question whether your cat can see ghosts or something. You assume it can because they're just staring at nothing and, or
very
whatever.
Intently.
Yeah, or whatever. And, despite science, like, that's something that people just find on their own,
Right. Yes.
Before the internet, That's a thing. People have never liked cats.
Yeah.
They have always been associated with the supernatural.
Right.
Positive or negative throughout all of history.
Yep.
So like they just have a mannerism about them, and it's just something that's believed. But like children, even into the age of young adolescence, have an air of untrustability.
Yep.
For a lot of different reasons as they progress until they're adults, and even then, at the level of detective, your word is, only goes so far. Eyewitness testimony is like the least reliable testimony.
Right. Yep.
In the court of law, so it's not very well respected.
Yep.
Except by McConaughey, the rogue off-beat path detective.
Yep.
With a stick up his ass.
Just a belief that everyone needs to die.
a ritualistic twig.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited to know more about that. It's I worry that that's the kind of thing that you would do in a show like this, just to be like, we read Lovecraft and we totally get it. We're not doing that, but here's the nod, because that's totally like a red herring moment where it excites a certain kind of person that's like starting to, because the first scene in the movie is cult ladies dead praying at a giant oak tree or whatever.
Yeah.
Was it a willow tree? I don't think it was.
It is not a willow tree.
Okay. It's just a gnarly beast of a tree.
Yeah, huge tree in the middle of this cornfield.
Yeah, it's the only one of that
for
deciduation or whatever. Mm-hmm. The only one of its phylum. I don't know. I think that's animals. I don't know what I'm talking about.
You need to brush up on your trees before we watch the rest of this.
Not tree. I meant like the same family. Of tree.
Yes.
There were no other trees of that description. Right. So it's clearly an old tree of a dead forest that was cut down for sugar cane. That's what they said it was, sugar cane?
I think it was cane.
Sugar cane field?
Yep.
But yeah, the Spaghetti Monster is it's always exciting. I don't know that it's like, because like they also said that girl was never found, right? Or no, because they got she just went missing in the woods.
Yeah,
and then they found her later, and that's the witness.
That was her. Yeah, that was her testimony before she went to go live with her dad because her mother was unfit, basically, and the mother agreed.
And that's the home connection where they found the other pyramid in the chicken coop area. Place.
Correct. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Last name Fontenot. So.
Fontenot.
Yeah. So.
It's all connected. Spaghetti monsters at a young age and weird rituals later. Excited. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's like most of the big details.
Yeah, I think that's enough. For
like we said at the top, a lot of this whole episode is the relationship between them, and less about
establishing what to expect going forward.
Yeah, the crime and the cult stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to find out that it's a Christian-based cult. That's going to be great. When everyone's like, no, it's the devil. They're not Christian. And I don't know. The preacher man with the nice haircut, he's the one leading everybody or something, like.
Right, yeah.
But yeah.
Come on, Joey, that's too easy.
Sometimes that's the talk of a conspiracy theorist, all right? And I won't have it. It's too easy. It's got to be really complicated and tinfoily hats,
No, colanders on their heads, man.
Colanders. For the hair to grow out of.
Yes, turn into spaghetti.
Ooh. Nice dreadlocks. Keep the colander attached to your head forever.
Oh my God. Gross.
And if you wash your head, it's a colander. Water goes right through it. I got it all figured out, man.
Oh, I guess there's something there.
Yeah, something. Motherfucking lunacy.
Oh, all right, well.
I'm about to jump into episode 2. Is that what's going to happen? I'm excited.
Fired up.
I like conversation without weeks between the next time that we do stuff.
Yeah.
Like usually it's a big movie that takes the whole night. A conversation that takes as long as the movie, and then weeks.
Yeah.
And then we record another one.
Yeah.
So it's nice to just like.
Yeah. I really wish I didn't work tomorrow so we could just binge the whole thing through.
That would be pretty insane, actually.
Yeah, but alas.
We would become the people with colanders on our heads. Yeah. We'd be like, I could see all the yarn and tying all these details together. I can see the code. All right, guys, be sure to watch the second episode. Because next
And
episode...
by watch, use your ears.
No, watch the episode, because we'll be...
Oh, yes.
We'll be talking about it next episode.
Yeah, watch episode 2. We're going to find out what Joey thinks next. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Yeah. This episode was recorded on January 21st, 2019. Our next episode will be about episode 2 of True Detective. Still season 1, obviously. And that is going to air on this coming Saturday, December 21st, 2019. 2 days from the record date, or release date of this.
Yes. So that should be exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. It's good stuff.
If you'd like to contact us, we have plenty of social medias. We've got a Twitter. We've got a YouTube where we're also doing Let's Play gaming content of similar themes as we've gotten into on this show so far. You can also check all of that content out on our website, where you can also contact us directly. All of the links to all of that will be in the description.
Yes. We also have one other project we are part of. It is Cardboard on Tap. We are a Twitch channel. We play hobbyist board gaming, and we share that with several other folks.
Yeah, you'll meet some of our friends and family.
And that is every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yeah, we go live. It's a lot of fun. Come hang out if you're interested.
Yep, and then you can follow that the social medias associated with that channel as well if you're interested in doing so. Through the Twitch channel, you'll find all those links.
Yep. Awesome.
Thanks for listening, everyone.